must be Wednesday because I'm here with the one, the only one, the man. That would be Coach Vince Carter. How you doing,
Hey,
Coach?
Charles, we're doing real well. How about you tonight?
Okay, man, you sound good. That means that we need an update on how the knee doing.
Knee doing really well. I'm off of all assisted walking apparatuses, and we're working now just to improve my range of motion. I saw the doctor earlier this month, and I tried to reason with him. I tried to influence him, and I tried to bribe him to see if he would release me. And he won for another month. So I go back in July, which I hope will be the day he will release me, and I get right, pretty much get right back into my normal routine.
Okay, for those that don't know, back in February you had a little incident that took place, and you
I
needed
did.
surgery. And
Yes, I had a surgery on my left patella tendon.
okay, and the recovery time, based on what the doctor would say, would was is what?
6 months, I'll be totally back. So I'm coming up on 5 months, about 16 weeks. The biggest concern right now is range of motion, but I'm very capable of again walking without any assistance, getting up and down stairs, getting up out of chairs. Really have I'm really pleased with my progress. However, he wants a little bit more, so we're working toward that because I want him to be pleased as well. But I am ecstatic. I can function as an individual without assistance again. I got my independence back, so I'm happy.
Right. Now, for those that don't know, I'm Charles Morse, Coach Carter, and he's in Tennessee. I always
Yes.
tease him about how he left. He left me. I'm a stepchild, but that's okay. He still showed me some love.
But yeah, I didn't abandon you though. I left you, but I didn't abandon you.
And we come your way right here at Youth Central Sports every Wednesday at 11 p.m. So I know last week you had something going on with the basketball with the guys up there because you up in Tennessee coaching high school
Right,
basketball. So what happened
right.
last week? I think you had some basketball going on.
Yeah, we were finishing up last Wednesday. We finished up our summer program, our summer team camps. We went 18-5 over the summer. Really got a chance to see what we possibly could look like. Saw some very interesting basketball, played some pretty competitive teams, and we got a chance to look at a lot of the guys in a game-like situation. So really at 18-5, we got to be happy with that. But we saw our strengths, we saw our weaknesses, saw places we know we have to improve. So had a real late game. As a matter of fact, we're playing at Belmont University there. So real happy about that. Now we're in the dead period. And then starting right after the 4th of July, I will have some interview. I have about 5 or 6 kids I'm going to be doing some skill development with over the month of July.
Okay. Now, before we came on, we were talking, right? And I was
Hmm.
giving you the score of the College World Series. And I was
Right.
telling you that Arkansas was an out away from winning it, right?
That, yes.
Well, Oregon State just hit a two-run home run. No, no, no. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. They were, yeah. So they're now up 5-3, going down. I mean, going to the bottom of the ninth right now. So Oregon State is up. They just had the final out. They were down 3-2. No. They were down 3-2, and it's five. So no. They hit a three-run home run.
Ooh,
So yeah. So they're up 5-3. They just now going into the bottom of the ninth. So they're going crazy, which they're trying to force a game three. So
right,
it's a
right.
it's the best two out of three. Arkansas is up one
Two
game.
out of three.
So
Right.
if they had that out, then Arkansas would have won. But Oregon State is now up 5-3 at the bottom of the ninth, and that's what sports is
Well,
about. That's
that's what
what
sports
it's
is all
about,
about.
man.
That's exactly what sport is about. It doesn't get any better than that.
Well, there's a lot that's been going on, and I know that this time of the year we're right at that corner of the NFL season, the guys in camp and
Hmm.
everything. We're at the end of June. The season actually starts in August, so I always say once August come around, football is here until next year. So
Yeah,
we're a few weeks
true.
away from the NFL season, which means it's almost like the country gets back to being normal.
Well, I tell you what, what makes this also interesting for really sports fans, you got well, you just finished basketball, you got baseball going on, you still got some NBA ball that's taking, and now football is coming. So that lull or that dry spell, so to speak, it's starting to rev back up again because earlier in the year you have that opportunity where you have all sports going at the same time. That's the best. You can just flip from channel to channel, pick up all kind of sports. But now it's kind of got that. It's a little leveling off, but it's about to rev up again, as you say.
Now, October is my favorite month out of the year. I love the
Hmm.
month of October. And the reason why, one is that we're coming off the summer. And for those that don't know,
Right.
October is a wonderful time in Florida because the days are not really hot. The evenings are
Mm-hmm.
nice and cool and comfortable. And you got football, baseball, hockey, and basketball.
And
And
basketball.
it's a
Yeah.
great time to go fishing as well.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
October is my favorite month out of the year by far.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
it's
love
for a sports fan.
October.
Yeah, for a sports fan, you can't find a better time of the year, in my opinion. Because whatever your passion is there to be seen, and it's just fantastic.
Now, I've never really asked you if you're a baseball fan. I never asked you that, but I don't really watch baseball during the regular season. But when the playoffs start, I am glued, and when the World Series starts, I'm glued to the TV. I love watching the World Series. It's such a chess match with the pitchers
Hmm.
back and forth and everything. But I love watching the World Series. I love watching the playoffs. I really do.
I'm pretty much that way too. I don't pay too much attention during the regular season because sometimes it conflicts with other things that I'm doing. But certainly when it gets down to the playoffs, I become very narrow on the baseball playing field, and I kind of like that. It gets exciting because now you got the best teams out there, and now you see the game at its purest. In my opinion, you really see the game at a high level, and with me being a casual baseball fan, that's the most exciting time for me to watch the game because you've got the best out there now. These are your leaders, and they actually get out there and get it done. And it's kind of I like the chess match scenario that you talked about. I really like that, and it gets to be very interesting.
Okay. Well, let me. I got my list here. I got some notes. When I ask you, have you been following the World Cup? Because it's
I
that's
act,
like the biggest thing in the world right now.
yeah, I think Mexico pulled one out today, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh huh.
Did they not? Yeah, and I
Right.
watch it a little bit.
And they're talking about Germany is I think they lost two games and I think they're almost out, and that's kind of like never. I mean, that's like not being
Yeah,
heard of.
yeah,
Germany.
they're a
Uh,
staple.
yeah.
They're stapled in that game. They got to be there. But it just goes to show you that no matter the sport, there is always a change and of changing of the guard. I really don't. I really like to see the changing of the dominant team, if you will. That maybe it's not always the team that you expect it to be, which keeps the sport interesting because you keep having new challenges. You have new rivals that come along and challenge the established team, and not to have Germany involved seems so rare.
I want to ask you, did you watch the NBA draft? Was there any surprises that surprised you? Did you get a chance to see it?
I did get a chance. I didn't see all of it live, but I did get a chance to go back and recap. There, I don't know the rankings of where they put these guys. Sometimes, to me, that's just an opinion, and I think because a lot of time they get drafted based on the team that's interested in them and what what number they have to make that draft. I did think the young man going, Michael Porter Jr., who previously before his surgery was really touted as going to be the first number one draft pick, and he fell in his stock fell because of the uncertainty of his back. But they say the young man has totally recovered. I watched him play late in the season, and a lot of the NBA people are saying this kid is a real deal. He's going to be an impact in the NBA season, and this kind of sets up a scenario, I think, where and you've heard some of these players say that where they got overlooked and where they got drafted. So when they actually get a chance to play, they remember those teams who passed on them, and when they play them, they try to make them remember, oh yeah, I'm the guy you passed on. So I think this young man is going to be very, very exciting. I was kind of interested to see how that fell. And then there were a couple of kids out of Carolina who, that being one of my favorite schools, that did not get drafted, but did end up signing contracts. That's Joel Berry, who's going to be playing with the Lakers, and Theo Pinson went to Detroit, I think it was, but he got a two-way contract.
Okay. Now,
So he's going to be playing back and forth. So that's interesting. And I understand the Lakers also are interested in what is it? The young man from Charlotte. I can't think of his name. He'll come to
but
me in a minute.
Vince, were you really shocked and surprised that your boy Ball's son didn't get drafted?
I was shocked and surprised that they even mentioned it. I mean, it was that was the shock I had. There was no way, and having know just a little bit about the young man and having read a few things, there was no way I could perceive this young man was going to make the Lakers team. And the Lakers got some opportunity.
But
He's not the player that they make him out to be.
well, no, but Vince, for him being who he is and where he is in his talent, it was a good thing that he was at UCLA and he could have developed and come along and actually could have had what I would consider some memorable moments in basketball that he could have enjoyed if his father didn't screw that whole thing up. Okay, he made a mistake,
Well,
but then without, if his father had just left it alone, it would have been okay. But his father just screwed the whole thing up, and if he don't be if he's not careful, he gonna screw up the younger son situation, and so it's
well,
just sad.
I would agree, and I think that the idea that this young man was going to be a Laker, I mean, it's like you're targeting the Lakers to push your whole family on, and they can't afford that. Number one, what the Lakers have in their mindset right now, they're looking at Kawhi Leonard, they're looking at LeBron James, they're looking at Paul George. Ball, the son that's there now may not even be there next season. Because they have him in that trade opportunity. So it was unrealistic. But once again, the family, the daddy Ball is all about PR, all about hype, and he got that. But I'm not surprised. What I am curious to see is what happened with the younger son. Now the middle boy, in his father's league, had a tremendous scoring effort out there just recently. I think he scored some, I don't recall the number, but a lot of points in the first game out. But that's not an indication of the kind of ball player he is. And more to me, it's the indication of the league that he's playing in. Because in my opinion, if he went out there and scored 30, 40 points, I come away, and maybe I'm being biased, and I am being biased. I'm thinking that the league is weak because he's not that good of a player.
Right. Well, again, I'm just talking again. I make reference to what the father has done to really mess up the situation for him, especially being where he is talent-wise. So I don't know. But
Well, Dad, only thing that Dad is doing is doing a great PR campaign. And I think he's working them out and all that kind of stuff. But after all the PR and the hype is going, it's down to skill. It's down to how well you play the game. And the young man is an average ball player at
Right.
best. Could he get better? I think he could. If you know, everybody has an opportunity to get better. It's just a decision that you want to make. But I think with all of that, as you said earlier, with all that baggage he's got, it really makes it difficult for him,
Right.
and it makes people not look at him like they would ordinarily. And I don't think Dad gets it. He's been a little quiet lately, but and I think for the youngest son, it would be great if he just let this young man get on the floor and compete. Stop getting involved. Stop trying to make it more than it is. If the young man is that good, believe me, they'll find him.
Now, did you see, and I don't remember the guy's name, but for that moment, I was like, this is so cool. He got drafted by the 76ers. His mother been working for the 76ers for
Yes,
many years.
yes.
They did the nice interview, and 15 minutes later, they traded him. Did
That's
you?
basketball. You know,
No, 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 no,
I was
no, no,
shocked that
no,
they.
no, no, no. I got that part, but it was just so neat because the mother was just like, oh, I've been here with the 76ers, and now, da, da,
Mm,
da. And it was just that moment of like, man, how cool is that she
I,
works for the 76ers, and now her son is now a 76er, and then be like, oh man, she get to go to work every day and da da da, and ravishing the fact that her son plays for the, and then 15 minutes later, I think he went to Phoenix or
I was
somewhere like that.
surprised. I was very surprised that they even drafted him with her being there. I really, really, there's something to be said for his talent level and something to be said for the team's ideology of how they looked at it, because I really didn't think that would happen. But the fact that he got there, and I kind of in the back of my head was thinking, how good is that long term for everybody involved? As a young man, does he want to go to work every day and see his mom? And I'm not saying, I'm just simply saying, is that going to be a good situation for him? Will that in some way be an obstacle long term? And I think that I agree with you. Uniqueness of it all was fantastic. I think she got a chance to celebrate his entry into the NBA, and he started where they were. But as fate would have it, he ended up moving on someplace else. But I still think it was a great story. I agree with you 100% on that.
Now you notice this young man, and I was really shocked when I heard it. But Austin Rivers got traded to DC. Did you hear about that?
I did, and I'm not shocked by that. I think when you look at what the Clippers are doing, and some of the moves that they're making, this is the best time for this is the Austin's last season was probably has been his best season. And with what they're trying to accomplish, I do think it was probably a smart move was to move him now. Now understand too, Lawrence Frank and upper management is making this decision. This was not a Doc Rivers decision because he's just a coach now. I'm sure he had
Somebody
some input into it.
somebody said Jerry West made that decision.
There's a possibility that that,
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that
yeah,
it could
yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
come
They said that was Jerry West.
from, but see, Doc does not have the dual role he had before. He's just simply coach now. So those kind of decisions, while he may be informed by, and sometimes depending upon what their system is like, he has minimum input into that. And I think, and it kind of speaks to DeAndre Jordan too, because he's being looked at of being moved as well. That's why you bring Gore-Tex in to
Right,
fill that
right.
gap. That's what I thought I saw. And given that Austin had had a good year, this is the time to move him. He could help up there. He's playing better ball, so this is a great time to move him with the situation with Jordan, DeAndre Jordan moving, bringing Gore-Tex in now, so you can replace that. He's played a decent. He had a decent season. I don't know if it went well with him in Washington, but he's playing pretty good ball. He used to be with Magic as well.
Right, yeah, 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 yeah. And I was actually surprised that the Magic got rid of him, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, yeah. When it comes to the Magic, we don't really know why things happen the way they do. At least I don't.
And then it's so funny to hear them on local radio here, on the sports radio, and for them in the way they talk about the Magic. And it's not that I'm a Magic hater, especially since I live here in Orlando. It was nice. I mean, you know, I'm saying I'm not like a Magic fan in the sense to say, well, this is my team because I live here. But I would love to root
Mm-hmm.
for them in the sense to say that, hey, you know, at least you guys are winning. But I don't know what they've been doing for the past few years. And I will say this, and I'm saying it right now. You can go back and look at the tape, the video, you know, when at the end of this coming season. But they're not gonna make the playoffs. But actually, you know what? In the East, it's like you never know. But they are not gonna win no more than 29 games. They,
Well, the problem with the Magic is symptomatic of what I think you see in the league, and just the Magic just can't get a they can't get a foot on, they can't get started, and that is creating elite teams. There's not enough talent out. There's not enough money sometimes to do that, and you found that it doesn't work quite as well as people think it does, and the Magic just can't get started. First of all, they keep changing coaches and GMs and all of that, and then you keep swapping out players. And I think everybody's basing it on what they see with the Warriors. Well, you got to remember they didn't. That team was assembled a different way. They didn't bring in two and three and four people at a time. They did it one by one, by one, by one, and they stayed together. So if that is your blueprint, then the Magic had just traded away a multitude of opportunities. Now, one of the things also has been a problem with the Magic too is that they haven't had basketball people involved. You've had business people, you've had hockey, you've had other people in there who've been involved. We haven't had real basketball minds. So it's going to be interesting to see now that these guys, what are they going to do different than everybody else, and what are they going to have to work with? Now they got a good guy coming in, a big guy coming in. Now, what are you going to do about building around that?
now,
You know,
they,
Tyrone Corbin
uh-huh.
is going to be assistant coach with the Magic. He had played with the Magic for a hot minute, and he's head coach. He played out in Utah, and now he's coming back to Orlando to be an assistant coach.
Oh,
So the
is he?
coaching staff seems yes, they just signed him, and with the big guy that they've got, reminiscences of bringing in a Shaq. I want to see how they build around him because they got an opportunity again, just like they had with Shaq, is to build and Dwight Howard to build something around them that could really become the possibility of a very good team down the road. But it's not going to happen overnight because they can't attract talent right now, and that's the problem. That's one of the problems that's happening in Cleveland. LeBron can't get people to come and play to Cleveland. They don't want to go to Cleveland for whatever be the reason. So he can't attract people. Now the Magic is having the same issue. Mickey Mouse Land, which is once you get to Orlando, you actually enjoy it there. But most players don't come. Taxi issues and some of the social lives that they want to have and all things like that. You know, for some reason they can't get them there.
Oregon State did force a game 3, so tomorrow night they'll be playing for the championship.
That'll be interesting.
Right? Yeah,
Boy,
yeah.
the
So
world of
Oregon
sport, you
State
can't
did.
beat it.
Yeah, so they did force a game 3. The 76ers, the Cavs, the Clippers, and the Celtics are trying to find a way to get Kawhi. Are you surprised by any of those teams? The
A
76ers,
little
the
bit.
Cavs, the Clippers, and the Celtics.
I'm a little surprised that Celtics would want to, with Irving coming back and Haywood. That kind of surprised me. Cleveland, I kind of see them if because they're pretty much sure LeBron's going to leave out of there, and 76ers kind of surprised with that too because I think they got a good nucleus right there.
Right.
And Kawhi is a different kind of player than LeBron. And I really think getting Kawhi, I think if LeBron goes to Philadelphia, he'll destroy the team. Where I think Kawhi he brings a little bit different opportunity for him. He still requires the ball in his hand, but not as much, and he kind of needs the ball a little bit less. I'm a little that kind of surprises me a little bit. But Cleveland makes sense. Cleveland really makes sense because they need that. I understand the Lakers are re-engaged conversation about getting him as well. So that's going to be interesting to see because what's going to happen on the West Coast.
Now, they've been talking about Magic Johnson, and they just throw stuff out there. Magic Johnson, he's under pressure. He's under pressure to get Kawhi Leonard now. And he just said, man, I played against Larry Bird and I've been to the finals 9 times. Y'all don't know what pressure is. This is not pressure. But he did say that if he don't get the job done in a couple of years, that he will step down. And
Right.
so, right. So I think that he just need to make the Lakers competitive, you know, because I don't know what they're gonna do with Ball. I mean, I think Ball, if he ever get his confidence up, I mean, I don't think he'll ever really be a good shooter. I don't know because he has such an orthodox way of shooting the ball, and I don't know, but was he a good scorer at UCLA?
Ball handler, point guard, distributor, could read the bound. He's tall. He doesn't appear to be, but he's much taller than I thought he was. He's 6'5", and he handles the ball really well. You leave him open, he can knock down a shot. Where he
Right.
knocked down some shots in college that he's not going to knock down. And he's had a chance to score a few times in the NBA. He had double-digit nights, but those were attacking the baskets more so than shooting the shot. Now, take a look at what you're saying, what Magic was saying. And if he can't track some free agencies in 2 years, he's going to step down. Well, he really has a lot to offer. You got LA, number one.
Right.
You got the history of the Lakers, and you got Magic Johnson asking you to come, and they got money. Now you look at Ball. You say Ball. They got Ball, Ingram, and Kuzma that they're willing to get rid of. Now, with the exception of Ball, the other two ball players, everybody would want them to be on their team. So you got assets to get rid of to bring in what you're talking. So it's going Kemba Walker. That's what I was trying to think of. From they're going after him as a point guard out there. So you could see what Magic is doing. I really believe what he did first of all was just to get something on the floor so he could build from. I truly believe getting Ball was to trade him down the line, because I don't really think they thought he could do whatever, no more than what he's done. And now it's time to wipe clean, and they got assets that they can trade off for and go get the players they want to put that team together. And I think Magic can attract some free agents now. Whether he can get they're talking about Paul George, Leonard, and LeBron. Oh my goodness.
Well, the news today was that Paul George is kind of like, well, maybe not the Lakers, So that's what the news. And then that's what was. That's what they're saying, that Paul George saying, well, maybe not the Lakers, because your boy, and I don't know if he's going to go back to Oklahoma because I think your boy Anthony making, what is that, 24.8 million this coming season, 24.8.
Mm-hmm.
I think actually it might be 27. I think it's like 27 point. But anyway, I think at this time and where he is, I just think he's just saying, I'm in a good place. I get to play with Russell, Westbrook. I don't know if he'll have a better season coming up because he is on the other side now, where he's on the downside. So with that being said, Paul George, I don't know if he's going to end up back in Oklahoma or whether or not he's going to end up in LA. And again, I asked you that. Huh?
I don't believe in those guys until I see it. I hear what they say, but I recognize when you start dropping dollars in front of them and you start giving scenarios and who's going to be on the team, and it all changes. We'll know shortly on the 30th. Once we get free agents, that free agent frenzy gets started. Which starts July 1, and we get a commitment from one or two people out there where they want to go, then this whole playing field is going to change. Unfortunately, a lot of people are waiting to see what happens with LeBron James, which to me, once again, you know my feelings about that. But I think when you put Kawhi Leonard out there on the table, you got Paul George out there on the table, and a couple of other athletes. I can understand people saying, well, let me wait and see what happens before I put all my money in one pot. it's not always based on where LeBron is going, although I can see where that has some impact because they're running 3 or 4 teams that can afford to go after him. And
Right.
so they're sitting back saying, just like draft night. Well, if you take my number one pick, then I've got to make sure my 2 and 3 picks that I want to get so I got to have a strategy. So if I can't get this guy, how am I going to get there? And I think that's what everybody's trying to do. And we'll know July 1 what's going to now. That's when it's going to be fun. Come July 1, when they have to make those decisions, that's when we're going to see some change. Because all this right now is just conversation, salesmanship going on out there right now. And everybody trying to be a little underhanded and quiet about, I don't want you to know where I'm and all that kind of stuff. What I'm thinking, I don't believe any of it because July 1 is going to all come to light.
Where do you think he's going to go? I mean, just not, I mean,
Who's
I
that?
don't know. So I would love for him to stay in Cleveland, just,
No, that's not
for
going
the
to happen.
fans and for the city. I think he's good for the city. I I don't, man, I can see them burning his jersey again, if he leaves and, but
I,
man, those guys, because they're rock stars now. So it's like you just never know what they're going to do.
Heavy conversation. A lot of. I've read several scenarios, heard some conversation. Everybody's offering an opinion. It appears to be that he wants that the Lakers is his first stop because of he got a home out there. Some of his after the retirement concerns and stuff is that's the place to be. Now I've also heard that Houston was a possible that they're preparing to make an offer. But everything I've read and people I've talked that have an opinion about this truly believe it's going to be the Lakers. They don't think he'll stay in Cleveland. I think he and Dan Gilbert, there's an issue there. They seem very cold to one another, which leads me to believe that there possibly could be something going on that would prevent him from coming back. Now, he could shock us all and stay there, which I'd be shocked if he did.
Well, I think it would be great if he stayed in Cleveland. It would say a lot for him in the city itself. But hey, that's his decision. Got a question
Mm.
for you. Oh, did you know that? And I
Okay.
did not know this, but is it Steph? Not Steph. Seth Curry. Uh,
Uh huh.
he broke his leg last year and he was out for the season. I did
Yeah.
not know that, but he's been
He
cleared
was
to
playing.
play.
He was in Sacramento,
Right.
right?
Right. But I didn't know that he was injured.
Hmm.
He broke his tibia, I think it was.
Right.
And but now I guess he's a free agent. So somebody might pick him up because it looked like he's clear to play now.
He had the young man can play the game. I mean, I think and I think he's pro material. Is he anything like his brother? Not no, and maybe he hasn't had a chance to showcase all of his talent in terms of because I think teams and style has a lot to do with that. But he's efficient. Unfortunately he wasn't healthy, but he I thought he was efficient. He shot the ball pretty well. He's pretty decent defender.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see him out there playing.
Well, if he could be half as good as his dad, because his dad
Well,
was no
yeah,
joke.
because his dad could shoot the ball and defend. He
Yeah.
shot the ball really well.
Oh yeah.
Shot the ball
Yeah.
very well. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Man, he could fill it up.
He did a great job too. Back during his playing days. I also noticed today that Becky Hammond over with the Spurs
Well,
got
yeah, it's funny because
got
I was gonna
promoted.
bring her up, and now I don't have to
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
hey man, you've been keeping on top of it.
Yeah. I've been watching her. They put her on front side of the bench now, which means that she's more and more active. There's no question. I'd be shocked if she's not the first female head coach in the NBA. They're really grooming her, and she's really getting that. They're not rushing her along. I think she's taking the progress and really getting prepared for that. I wouldn't another year or so. I could see her being there.
But Vince, I don't think her issue, and I hope I can say this right. I don't think her issue is an X and O issue. I think the the challenge is just coming from just walking, just trading into new water, and our
Well,
culture and what that would mean. So I don't think it's an X and O thing because, I mean, you know what you know. It's just stepping into that new room that we have to get
well,
used to, you know?
I think that's the process of having her start where she started, let her progress in gaining the respect of the player, the integrity of the player, not necessarily X and O wise, but how she handles herself, how she
Right,
handles the players, how she handles situations. Now she got to know her X's and O's too, because
right,
you're talking to guys who and obviously she understands the game. And I really like her being under Pop. He's going to make sure she's prepared. So I think all of those factors are where because now she's even more involved because she's on the front side of the bench. So now she's really involved in game preparations and what goes on out there more so than more behind the scenes when you sit behind the bench. So I think she's getting comfortable. She has to get comfortable. The whole league has to be comfortable with her and set that role. Now look at it on the women's side. You got men coaches. Bill Lambier, as a matter of fact, is the head coach at the Dallas Wings, I think they're called. What kind of adjustments do they have to make for them when they travel, the locker room, and all this? So it's going to be the same thing in reverse roles. Women are a little bit more accepting, whereas men sometimes are not quite as accepting. But I think for sure she's gained their respect, which will allow her to have the league's respect, I think, as well.
right. Yeah. Wow. Before we do the 3 minute sprint, I wanted to ask you.
Amen.
I you know they've been promoting this movie Uncle Drew, right?
Yes, yes.
And somebody's talking about I haven't seen it, but they said, man, that look like a bad movie, man. That movie look like it's gonna be terrible. So,
Um, it actually, I'm not seeing, based on the commercial that this is really coming from,
right,
and some of the associated trailers that I've seen from that, and what this idea is about. It could actually be, if you're a sports person, this could be entertaining. This could really kind of
right,
catch you if you don't get caught up into if you get caught up in the context of what this is about. And you kind of if you're an old sports person, that's kind of like me going out there with one of these little young kids and say, you know what, let me show you're not under, let me show you what I'm talking about, and could
right,
actually get out there. So it has right now, and they have involved so many more pro players in it.
right,
I'm kind of interested to see how it all meshes, but I kind of like the idea.
right.
I might actually go watch that.
Oh,
I
okay,
might
well,
actually go watch that.
you're gonna have to let me know,
Yeah,
ahead
I'll,
of
I'll tell you.
time before I
I will.
go. I've been in video production and all that other stuff for a long time, so my perspective is a
Mm-hmm.
little different than most people when it comes to the
Mm-hmm.
whole the
Right.
writing, the producing, the directing, all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. I look at it from a production standpoint and the idea and the
Mm-hmm.
script and all that stuff. But that's just my thing. But
Mm-hmm.
it's we will see. I don't know if that's going to be
Yeah,
that thing like
the audience.
soul plane. I don't know. You know.
Well, again, I can't speak to because I haven't seen the movie. I've only seen trailers, a few things, and I've listened to some of the other people talk about it. What I have seen from the various trailers, the guys are having fun with it, and it's all about basketball. And,
Right.
it's that black top ball is the normal mindset of young player versus old player. Old man, go sit down. You don't understand. You can't do it like you used to. And in this case, they can do it like they used to, and they really take it out there. So from that perspective, it has an entertaining aspect of it. Now, how well is it done? I'm not sure about that. I'll get a chance to see that. The little bit that I've seen was interesting. I actually liked it. I was like, nah, I might go check that out. That because normally stuff like that doesn't appeal to me too much. But that kind of like, you know what? Because that's some of the people that involved. To see Reggie Miller in makeup was extremely funny to me. Because I just not, I'm not used to seeing Reggie do that. So that was kind of like, that's Reggie Miller. No kidding. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go check that out. You
Lisa Leslie,
know,
you know.
that Lisa's there. You got Shaq in there. You got Irvin. I think Grant Hill is in there. No, no, not Grant. Grant is there, and young man from Michigan. Woo,
Chris Webber.
Chris Webber. Yeah, Chris Webber.
Yeah,
See,
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah,
see
yeah.
Chris in makeup was kind of interesting too. So I was like, okay, this could be fun. This could be fun.
Yeah. All right, you ready for the 3 minute sprint?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. All right. Did you and your mom watch soaps back in the day?
Not my mother, my grandmother and I. My mother didn't watch them, but I watched them
Okay.
with my
What
grandmother.
was your favorite soap?
At that time, it was The Edge of Night,
Oh, wow. Wow.
and
Oh, The
As the
Edge of
World Turned,
Night
and
and The
As the
Secret
World Turned.
Storm and all of that?
Well, I didn't watch those. The Edge of Night and As the World Turned.
There you
And I
go.
currently
All
watch
right.
the
All
Young
right.
and I currently watch the Young and the Restless.
Okay. Have you ever seen the Jacksons live in concert?
No, I have not.
Okay. And I know you heard about Joe Jackson
Yes, I
today.
did. I heard about him
Yeah,
earlier
yeah, yeah,
today.
yeah. Okay, if you had a choice in one of the two cities to live in, L.A. or New York?
L.A. L.A. Love it out there. I love it out there.
L.A. West Coast, West
Without a
Coast,
doubt.
huh?
West Coast. I'm on the West Coast.
All right. If you had a choice of a dog, German Shepherd or Doberman Pinscher?
German Shepherd. I don't trust Dobermans.
Oh man, I'm a Doberman guy. I love Dobermans. Okay,
Don't trust
which
them.
cowboy team you like the best? Emmett Smith team or Tony Dorsett?
Oh, oh man. I'm gonna go with Emmitt Smith. I got that's tough on me, but I go with Emmitt Smith.
Really? I'm the
Yeah, I
I'm
like
the
Emmitt's
I'm the
team.
I'm the Tom Landry Tony Dorsett guy. Okay, your
Yeah,
favorite
well,
quarterback for Dallas is who?
uh-huh. Well,
Uh,
we're talking about well, back in the day with Tony Dorsett.
huh?
I mean, I'm not Tony. I'm sorry, Tony Romo.
Roger Staubach, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
Roger would, but yeah, Roger was good too.
Oh, now, did you go to the fair back in the day?
Yes.
Okay, and what was your favorite game to play at the fair to win a prize?
Um, where you had to knock the bowling ball down with the ball.
Oh, okay.
You pitch the
Have
ball,
you
knock the
ever,
bottles down.
yeah, okay. Have you ever dated a, a left-handed girl?
No,
No? Uh,
no,
okay. Have you ever been to a Parliament concert? Flashlight, green
no.
light.
I never have. No, that was a highlight that I missed. No, I never did one.
Okay, well, with that being said, all right, that's the 3 minute sprint. We do a little fun here with Vince on the 3 minute sprint. So I was told, because I never been to a Parliament concert, but I've had several people tell me back in the day when they used to come out with that spaceship and they talk about how cool that was, and whoever that was that be on stage in diapers.
Hmm. Hmm. Now, I tell you what, the other thing that I heard that I did not have a chance to witness with Earth, Wind, and Fire, they had one of the best shows that I've been told. Now, I've seen it on video,
Uh huh.
but never live. show, and then I think Michael Jordan and James Brown were next in terms of what they put out there. In terms of just spectacular in the various optics things that they were doing, because Michael would come up out the floor, drop out the ceiling, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
James Brown was just active. I mean, it was just a lot of pieces moving when and then the Earth, Wind and Fire had that magical approach to how they came out. I understand that those guys, and I never got a chance. I got a chance to see James Brown live, and,
Right.
and it's a high energy. That's a high energy thing. I mean, everybody. It's a whole lot of moving. Kind of remind me of the FAMU Marching 100. You got all these moving pieces going on, and that's what
Right.
James Brown was like to me. I never got a chance to see Michael, which I wish I had, because his was magical mixed with high energy. And
Right.
so was the Earth, Wind, and Fire. So, and I've heard about Parliament. I've heard about that.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I really wasn't a concert guy. Even to this day, I mean, I go kinda, sorta, but I did hear about. Now, I always wanted to go see the Jacksons because that was just gonna be a great show. I just always wanted to go see the
Yeah, yeah.
Jacksons. And but I did hear about the Parliament, with the ship, and they
Yeah.
was just talking about how and how great
They're
of a show
crazy.
that was, and
Yeah.
Earth, Wind and Fire, but because Earth, Wind and Fire just had great music, man. My first
Well,
concert
and then,
that I went to was when I was in Daytona. We left Daytona and came to Jacksonville, and I saw Wild Cherry in concert with the Isley Brothers. And that was my first
see,
live concert, was with going to see
my
Wild
first
Cherry and the Isley Brothers, with the guys on the
my
team.
first was Teddy Pendergrass,
Oh boy!
and
Wait a
with
minute!
his
Wait a
group.
minute! Wait a minute! Wait a minute! Were the big women throwing their panties on stage?
I don't know, but there's a whole bunch of panties being thrown on stage. They wasn't mine. I know that. I was like, whoa, this is wild. I didn't know whether I was supposed to pick them up and hand them to her, elect them myself. I wasn't sure, but I was like, this is crazy. I got a chance. Uh, probably one of, and that was crazy to me. I mean, Teddy Pendergrass. I mean, and Teddy come out there and sing. But I tell you, one of the most romantic was Luther Vandross. But the Temptations, when they had the original group,
Right.
got a chance to see just a few minutes of them. That was a fantastic presentation of music and style and dance and music. I mean, it was unbelievable. That's what made me a Temptation fan.
Yeah.
Those guys, and they moved and they were synchronized, they were harmonized. I mean, I was just blown away. And one of the things that endeared me to them was they had one heck of a band, or an orchestra, if you would, behind there. Those guys back there, I always thought they didn't get enough credit because they put out some serious music.
Oh yeah.
And James Brown had that sound, and he had all those pieces going. But what people fail to realize, those were excellent musicians back there. There was some great sound coming from, but you kind of got lost in that because you saw all that movement and stuff. It's kind of like sometimes when I've listened to Bethune-Cookman University and FAMU, yeah, we get caught up in all that movement. But have you ever just stopped and listened to them? That's some serious music, great harmony and volume and quality of music that they're throwing out there, and they can do that and dance. That's pretty darn good.
Well, I mean, you touched on a couple of things, but that did you see the James Brown movie? I really didn't like it,
Yes.
but I really didn't like it because I don't think they did James justice. And I really have a problem with James Brown being an icon, and white people produced that movie. There's something wrong. There's just because I'm serious, because they didn't do James justice in that movie for
Yeah,
who he is and the icon that he is, to tell his story.
Right.
There's just something wrong. Nothing against that, but to get into the depth of the music, his story, and what he meant for us. And I don't know. There's just something wrong that I don't know, but why people like Oprah and whoever else didn't come together to do this? And I'm just throwing names out there, but and that's what I mean by white people coming. There's something wrong for this guy who he was. Anyway, I won't get into that.
But I will say this though, Charles. I noticed I've noticed that in a couple of opportunities of iconic African American figures. And the problem is that these other groups of people seem to recognize that before we do and buy up the rights. And once they get it, then they're in control of it. That happened on several opportunities. And I think this story, and I followed James Brown pretty closely, and a lot be true in the movie, but what was missing, to your point, they didn't go deep enough into it.
Right, exactly.
They kind of got across the top. They got the idea, but they didn't get the content of it. That was my only. But the music was great. I mean, they really captured what he was, how smart. And people don't give James credit. He was a smart man.
He was very
control
gifted.
Of himself, very much as a musician and a businessman.
Right. And then the thing is, when you watch the movie, you understand the gift that God gave him, because everybody now I'm not a music guy, and I'm going to ask you about, because I found out something about you, is that you play an instrument, right? Right. So see, I was see, you don't know that, but I was blown away when you said that, because I would have never guessed that you play an instrument. I'm serious. When you said that, because I was here to ask you about that. But in this movie with James Brown, one of the things that you realize was the gift that God gave him, because he kept talking about everything on the one, and everybody was looking at him like he crazy. And he's like, because they look at him like, on the one, that makes no sense. But it made sense to him, because he heard something nobody else could hear. And he did everything on the one. And you'd be like, huh? It'd be like, can't you hear it? If you say so, James. And he did everything on the one. Now, what that means in music, I have no idea.
Well, if you listen to the acts that would follow him, and he influenced a lot of people's music, Michael being one of them, for his stage presence and that tempo and that movement and all that kind of stuff. He was a gifted musician, a gifted talent, and had one heck of an ear. Now, they said he couldn't read music, but it was hard to tell he couldn't read it. Now, he did a lot of stuff by ear. Right. And but he was talented enough to put it together. Now also, I think you have to go into greater details. He had some very talented people playing with him. That crazy behind Bootsy Collins was over there with him for a minute. Fred on over there, and Bobby Blue Bland. See, people don't give Bobby Blue Bland enough credit. First of all, Bobby was very loyal to James. Number two, he was a gifted musician himself, and he danced and arranged and did a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Now, he didn't necessarily play an instrument per se, and what people don't realize, James played multiple instruments. I mean, you saw him always on the organ, but he's played drums. He's blown a little bit of sax. I mean, he was a little country boy, if you look at the story of where he came from. But this man is so super talented, and it came across. And he loved what that's the thing that endears me to athletes and musicians and people of what profession. When you see the love for that profession in them and the way they deliver that, I get excited behind that, to see that like a Michael Jordan. When Mike came along, I wasn't necessarily a Mike. I didn't start out being a Michael Jordan fan because I wasn't a Nike fan. Right. But as time, what endeared me to Mike was his attention to detail in his craft. No matter how good they said he was, he kept working. And I took that, I liked that, and that's what endeared me to him, is that Mike just kept working. Whatever you said he couldn't do, that's what he put attention to. They said he couldn't shoot, he learned to shoot the basketball. And you say he couldn't defend, he became a better defender. And that's what drew. So I'm attracted to people who are in love with what they do, to the point that you can feel and see the love, and how I thought when Luther Vandross sang, I thought he was singing to himself out of enjoyment. I really did. When Barry White sit there, and I love some of his love songs, but I always thought Barry was talking about his love because the way it came across. You know what I mean? I mean, it came across so genuine, so in inviting that you wanted to be a part of that. And I love any athlete. I see athletes, I see musicians and people in their craft like that. I get excited behind when I see that because that's a dedication to what you believe in.
Right, right. Wow. Instrument. I've always wanted to ask you about that. Because when you say what instrument do you play, Vince?
I was a percussionist. I started out playing drums, and I played the timpani, bongos. Then I went to I played drum sets, and the snare drum, and I played drum sets. Then I played saxophone, trombone, a little bit of clarinet, a little bit of trumpet. Because I was huge into music as well as sport. Those were the two things that drove me. That I got up for each and every day. And I had my own band for a while. We started out being a little rock and roll band, but jazz is my heart. So I had two bands. I had a rock and roll band, and we played everything. You name it, we played it. We played the stylistic, we played whoever was popular. Then I had another group that we played jazz music because I was a huge jazz fan. So got a chance to interact with the James Brown organization. Got a chance to play for him in an audition right there in Sanford at a deluxe bar. Most people probably, and you'd have to be a Central Floridian to appreciate that. Back in the day, Paradise Inn over in Daytona did a little something over there as well. So I was heavy. You couldn't tell me
But wait a minute,
that I wasn't going to be.
But Vince, you play the sax?
Yeah, I mean, I played alto, tenor, and baritone.
No. Hold on. Wait a minute. Now, you play the sax?
Yeah.
That's smooth right there, man.
That. But I was a drummer. I was a drummer first.
No. I'm not talking about the drums right now. I'm talking about the sax, because when you play the sax, you boy, all of a sudden the ladies just start. Ladies love the sax, baby.
And that's why I love the sax too. I love the sax too. I started out alto sax, and a friend of mine said, "No, man, you need to play that tenor sax." And I got on that tenor sax, and I was like, "Oh man, I love this thing right here. I love this." And then I played baritone sax, and I'm like, no, that tenor sax is where it's at. And the guy that introduced me to it was a tenor sax player. Okay. And so we were playing a gig down in Titusville. And we had I can't remember the song that we were playing at the time, but it was a solo for him. It was kind of a slow jam. Boy, he brought the house down. I was sitting there, man. I was like, oh yeah, I got to play that. I got to play that instrument. He brought the house down, and so yeah, I was huge and still am. I'm more on the jazz side now though.
But wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Well, do you own a sax?
No.
When was the last time you played the sax?
Oh, 22, 23 years ago. Yeah. No.
Okay,
it's been years since that.
So if you were to pick up the sax, you would be okay.
I don't think so now, because I might get a couple of notes out. I'm more efficient as a drummer. That comes natural for me. Now, I can pick that up right now and play with anybody, anything you want to play.
Okay.
Where in the sax, I would have to go back, breathing and working on that. Where if you give me a set of sticks right now, I can do the rudiments for you. I can you give me a set, I can play that. That's my natural calling. I can play that.
Wow.
Now, I can play them in the sleep.
The whole instrument thing when it comes to music, man, that's just such a gift, from where I sit. Discipline. That's just such a gift.
I think I got involved because of the discipline and also the love that I saw other people have. And I enjoyed myself. And the only reason that I played multiple instruments because it was suggested to me that if I was going to make a career out of it, being a drummer and being a good drummer, which I thought I was a good drummer and was en route to become a really good drummer, they thought that I should have a broader music, especially if I was trying to, do something on my own. So they said, and my band director had encouraged me to learn other instruments, which would help your ear and stuff. And I kind of said, okay, I'll do that. Okay, I'll do that. I'll try that. And I found it interesting, but my calling is the drums, man. And that's my calling. That's my
Now,
calling. If God gave me a talent, that's what it is.
how long did it take you to learn how to play the sax?
um, I think I'm still learning, quite honestly. In order for me, now when I say let's make sure when we say play, you're talking about making acute sounds okay. I'm not a real player. I can play. I can read. I could read music and play that. What I call a saxophone player is a Gerald Albright or somebody that wasn't that good yet. That's where I was trying to get to, though. I could blow
Y-
a couple of notes. I could read some music, on that.
Right.
Uh, and it took a minute because I struggle. The interesting thing for me that I struggle on the piano. For some
Okay.
reason, I had a problem picking up pitches on the piano, but I could pick up instruments and play, which was kind of backwards. But because most people, if you play piano, it helps you with everything else because of pitches and sound. But I could play the pitch over on the horn, but when I got down to the piano, I struggled with it for some reason. And I think too, I like discipline. I wasn't truly interested in it, so I didn't spend enough time with it.
Well, people, ladies and gentlemen, see, we learned something here. We learned something here on Youth Central Sports. I think Vince's supposed to be coming to town again. He was here a few weeks ago. I think Vince's supposed to be coming
Yeah.
to town again here sometime in the summer. We're gonna find some drums when he come to town.
Yeah, listen, man. That and I haven't played drums in at least 5 years, but I can kick it though. I can kick it. That I can do.
Okay, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna take Vince over to my church because we got some drums at the church. We're gonna
Oh, that
videotape
yeah.
him playing the
Yeah.
drums, and we're gonna run it back during
Yeah.
the show. Yeah, yeah,
Sounds like a
seriously,
winner to me.
seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds
yeah.
good. That's my thing. And to many people, I got a couple of friends of mine. They know that I used to have a huge music collection of music. Huge. I got a friend of mine that's got three times as much as I have, but I used to have a little because I used to both recorded stuff that I recorded, stuff I would buy. I mean, now in the digital age today, uh, you don't need as much standalone music where you can stream a lot of music. But I was huge into that. Huge into that.
Now, now is there anyone else in your family that have anything to do with music?
Yes, my oldest son played instruments and was drum major at Mainland High School. Vincent was drum major for a while. He plays a saxophone and a couple other instruments, and did very well. My youngest son is a rapper, if you will. He writes music and raps and stuff like that. I don't think he plays an instrument per se, but he has good ear pitch, and he has a story. He tells it through his rapping. A couple of my daughters that they're music lovers. I don't think they're instruments. If they did, they don't play them anymore.
Okay. Well, we definitely, when Vince comes to town, we're gonna take him over there, and I'm gonna videotape him
Yeah,
playing, and I'm
yeah,
gonna see if I can find a sax somewhere. I gotta find a sax somewhere. We're gonna get a couple of notes out of
yeah.
him, on the
Yeah, I
saxophone as
might get.
well.
That's about all you're gonna get is a couple of notes. That's about all you get is a couple of notes. But I'll be glad to give those two notes to you.
Okay. Oh, okay. Do you have any idea when you might be coming back?
I'm scared. Well, the conversation is on the 20th of this month. I'm sorry, 20th is what we're targeting. So if that stays firm, no, it's not firm yet.
Okay. Okay. Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, where else you gonna on a sports show? You're gonna hear about James Brown, Vince playing the drums. You're gonna hear about Earth, Wind, and
Yeah, yeah.
Fire. You know, you're gonna hear about
Hey,
Parliament.
that's sport. That's sport.
Hey, right here on Youth Central
Different.
Sports.
You can't
You
beat it.
know,
Youth Central Sports, we talk about dedication, discipline. That's what music is, and that's what sport is.
now, and actually, Vince, which I totally forgot, but here I wanted to show you something. I actually, and I'm going to invite her on the show. I had her on the Journey 2020 this past week, and I want you to check out when you talk about discipline. I asked her to come on the show, and she is Pastor Jenkins' cousin, and she is a bodybuilder, and that's her. She is the one in the white, but
Okay.
that's her in the middle with the black dress on. That's her in the middle, right there,
No, okay.
right. And so I asked her to come on the show. She came on the Journey 2020, and that's her in the middle. And I told her that you would love to talk to her. That's her right there. So I'm gonna pause that right there, Vince. So, oh no, well, I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. Oh,
Okay.
here we go. Yeah, well, that's her right there. But she came on the show, and you talked about what it takes, because she's over 50 years old now, and she just got into this a couple of years ago. So to talk about what it takes to prepare for the show, talk about what it takes when it comes to the discipline and all the hard works that she put in now. So when you talk about the discipline, I told her I told her you would love to talk to her.
Yeah, because I work out, and that's one of the things I'm getting back into now. I've already started a at-home workout on my upper body to try to get it back, because prior to my injury, I was in the gym 6 days a week,
Right.
and sometimes seven, working on this. So I have a great appreciation for the work that she put in, the discipline that goes in, the scheduling and all of that. I never wanted to be a bodybuilder.
Right.
I just was working for, to be in the best shape I could be in.
Right.
And I really believed if I was still working at that prior to my injury would not have been as severe as it was. I had kind of slowed down a little bit just when I had my injury. I believe if I had still been in my workout regimen, it would have been less of a severity of my injury,
Yeah.
less
Well,
severe.
yeah. Well, I asked her to come on, and she talked about what it takes, and how dedicated she is, and she talked about, and which was weird, because I knew that she actually coached my twins, not but my brother's twins,
Right.
when they were playing in high school. She was their coach. Now she was not doing the bodybuilding thing then, so she said her goal is that she wants to become a professional. So she's working on that right now. So again, I told her that I would love to invite her to come on the show, and because I know you'd have a million questions for her.
And there's a young lady down in Bradenton who is a former professional bodybuilder. I don't know if they know one another or not. I'd certainly want to put her in touch with her, because this young lady is she's older, and she had pictures of her when she started. That would be an interesting conversation between the two of them, because she's currently still working out. She's
Right.
not competing, but she is still working out, and she has a health food store that she is two of them now, I think. And I'd love to put them in touch with one another.
Right. Yeah. And then there's another friend of mine that does the same thing. that I tried to get her to come on, but she wasn't able to come on the show with her on Monday. And but hopefully I'll be able to get her to come on the show. And she
Yeah.
yeah, she loved the idea. So we will see. We will see. But she
Look
was on the
forward to
show
that.
Monday. She
That's
was on the Journey 2020 on Monday.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah. That's quite an accomplishment in my book.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely, definitely.
Hmm.
So, but with that being said, we want to thank everyone, and we're here every Wednesday at 11 p.m. and we get
Hmm.
to talk about Parliament, the P-Funk, make my funky P-Funk. See, the new school has no
Amen.
idea what we're talking about, Vince. The new school has no idea
And
what we're talking
yeah, I'm gonna tell them like my grandmother tell me, just keep on living. You'll get it. Just keep on living.
about. Okay. With that being said, we want to thank everyone for spending time with us. Vince Carter, Charles Morris. You have yourself a blessed week.
Good night.